we're going to shift gears. We're going to shift gears to the NBA. There's been some talks today about my Los Angeles Lakers that Frank Vogel is on the hot seat. He's been told, and I think this was, at the start of the season, that if they struggle over an X amount of period, the whole staff is gone. That's what they were told by management. So he's literally on a game-to-game evaluation. What are your thoughts on that particular strategy? And if they do fire Frank Vogel, where do they go from there in regards to who takes over?
Let's talk about their strategy first. First of all, I think it's a dumb strategy. Listen, I'm not somebody who's been like a Frank Vogel, defender. I don't think he's a great coach. I've always said, remember we talked about this last year in the playoffs, his real bugaboo has been organizing rotations.
Right.
But my thing with Frank Vogel is nobody's talking about, oh, Frank Vogel's the problem until number 0 walks in. Now he's the problem. And so, I mean, listen, I know you were talking about on social media. How about Mark Jackson? Look, as a Warriors fan, I've been saying, for years, why is Mark Jackson not getting, a shot? I think he absolutely deserves another chance in the NBA. But no, I do not think Vogel's the problem. I don't think, if you look at the Lakers roster, I told you from the beginning of the season, it's an old roster with a point guard that is not a winning player. That's the issue with the Lakers. And obviously your second best player is, as I call him, AD, always down. And so that's the issue with the Lakers. At some point, there's got to be at least a little bit of accountability with the players. Like, I don't think this is a coach problem. I think this is a player's problem.
I mean, that's a fair point. I will say this, is that I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith much. He's one of my idols, but he was spot on with this assessment. He said that when you are a coach or you have a skill set, and people hire you for that skill set, and you no longer provide that skill set, there's grounds to replace that particular person. Frank Vogel is a defensive coach. Frank Vogel got hired to be a defensive coach. Frank Vogel is a defensive coach. He led the Lakers in defensive efficiency. They were top 5 the last few years. They were number 1 last year.
Yep.
They are now middle of the pack. They're 17th or something like that. That right there is showing you that, of course, you can talk about personnel. You can talk about injuries. You can talk about all of these things, players that don't fit. But if you can't do what we hired you to do, that gives the organization the out, right? So even if it's unfair, even though he's not to necessarily blame for all of it, that's the organization's out. Because let's think about it. Frank Vogel won a championship, right? Normally, when a coach wins a championship, they get a 4-year extension. Frank Vogel got a 1-year extension. They never believed in Frank Vogel. The reason why is because when they hired Frank Vogel, he was not their first choice. They wanted Monty Williams. Monty Williams went to Phoenix. They wanted Ty Lue, but they wanted Ty Lue on a short deal. Ty Lue wouldn't do that. So then they turned to Frank Vogel, who was willing to accept the 2-year contract. That's why they went to Frank and told Frank, we're going to hire your assistant coaches. You're not going to be able to hire your own staff. Okay, I'm fine with that. So he took the job having 2 hands tied behind his back. He won a championship, and it still hasn't changed their mind about him. So they're just waiting to fire him. I'm not one of those people that advocate. Well, sometimes I do. I can't even lie. But but in this sense, I think they're in the right. I think that Frank Vogel, even if it's not his fault, there's a time where your voice gets phased out of a locker room. And it's possibly that time, because this is a roster, Bryson. It's an older roster, older players they don't. I think there's different things that motivate older players. They already been through it. They've been to training camps, hundreds of them. They know that it's all about playoffs. They have to rest their bodies for playoffs. It's not a big deal to struggle or have a low period in the regular season. Well, the Lakers are in a situation where if they don't play well, they might not be a postseason for them, right? They need a head coach that can be able to stand there in front of every single one of those veterans, Dwight Howard, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, all of them, and say, you guys need to get your heads out of you know what? You know what I'm saying? Get your heads out of your asses, and you need to play. You need to prove to everybody that you guys can still play at a high level and not just come in the room and say, you see my Hall of Fame resume? You guys are not supposed to just lay down tonight. No team is laying down against the Lakers because they don't fear the Lakers. They don't fear the resume. They don't care about what's on the back of your basketball card. They don't care what your 2K rating is. They don't care what, like, you know, when you click the profile page on 2K, you can see all the awards and stuff. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. That's what they need. They need a coach that's going to kick them in the ass. And they don't have that. They don't have that.
No, you're right.
So that's one of the reasons why I say that Frank Vogel, you know, it may be time for him to go. Because if you can't motivate these guys, what's the point? What's the point? You're just there. You're just there.
But I would ask you this question also, the driving force, the organization, the driving force, the only reason the Lakers, let's be real, are even relevant this year is LeBron James.
Yeah.
Since, let's talk about his legit championship contending year starting in Miami.
Yes.
When at any point in LeBron's career has he had a guy who, you know, is going to kind of get in people's business? You know, I think, what's his name?
That's it.
𝐤𝐤𝐤 kind of, but I think LeBron and 𝐤𝐤𝐤 had a certain amount of mutual respect for one another.
Well, the reason why I say that is because 𝐤𝐤𝐤, because they had that mutual respect, 𝐤𝐤𝐤 was able to get into his face. Because there was a lot of times that 𝐤𝐤𝐤 called him out on the sideline, him not playing defense, him not running back on defense, and the other players saw that, and they were like, well, if 𝐤𝐤𝐤 can be able to do that to LeBron, he's going to chew us out. There's never been a coach other than 𝐤𝐤𝐤 that has done that to LeBron James. So that's why I say that they need another 𝐤𝐤𝐤.
I got you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
You know, Spoelstra is a good coach.
I like Spoelstra a lot.
Yeah, Spoelstra is really, really, really knowledgeable, really smart. But he's a lot like Frank Vogel. You know, his rotations are very questionable. They were very questionable in those Miami years. You know, he's very low key, very, cool and calm. And that works when your team is winning, but when your team is losing and they need a spark and they need a kick in the ass, that's not the guy to give it to you. So, that's the problem, is that this Laker team, we keep hearing the same thing out of them. Oh, we got to play harder. We got to, like, if you have to force yourselves to play hard to play basketball on a professional basketball team, it's a problem. And if a coach can't get you to play hard, then they need somebody else that can be able to tell them that. So, it's up to the players to be better. Absolutely. It's up to the players to be more efficient. It's up to the players to hit shots, but it's also up to the coach to be able to get those players ready and prepared and hold them accountable and have your players walking on eggshells a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. To say, okay, you guys think that you're good. If you go out there and give me half-ass effort again, I don't care what your contract looks like. I don't care how much money you're getting. I'm going to bench you. And I'm going to let management force me out. But I'm not going to ruin and sully my reputation for you guys. If you don't want to play hard, then I got to do what I got to do. That's what a coach needs to do. If you don't want to do what you want to do, that's fine. They may not trade you. They may fire me. But guess what's going to happen before they fire me? I'm going to make sure that I get players on that court that are going to want to play hard. Period.
Lakers, are you listening? Because you could kind of use this a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. You could listen. You need to fly out to LA to the crypto.com arena and, I don't know, speak to the team or something, or speak to Vogel. I don't know, speak to Jeannie Buss, because that's I think I agree with you, because at the end of the day, we talked about this with the team in North Texas. There does need to be a certain amount of accountability,
mm-hmm.
and is there that with the Lakers? And that's sort of what I worried about as well. Is not just the pieces don't fit on the court, but you got some big egos in that locker room.
Yes.
And listen, every professional out there, every human, especially us guys, everybody's got an ego.
Right.
But when you have guys that are in the later stages of their career that are not going to play defense,
Right.
Maybe it's just not a good fit. Not to say Vogel's a bad fit for the Lakers, but maybe he's a bad fit for this roster.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the issue.
Exactly.
So I think you bring up some good points.
Yeah. And you know what? I just want to put this out there. I owe Russell Westbrook an apology.
What?
Yeah.
For what?
I'm sorry, Russell Westbrook. I'm sorry. I want to apologize for saying that, you're not that good of a player anymore. You're not efficient. All of those things possibly could be true. But I can't say that today. You know why, Bryson? I can't say that today. Because he did something for me last night that gives him like a 5 or 6, maybe even a 10-game pass.
Yeah.
I'm saying it right now. I may not criticize Russell Westbrook for 10 games because of what he did for me last night. What he did for me as a Laker fan, what he did for me as a basketball enthusiast, what he did for me as somebody who analyzes the game, Bryson, was he dunked on Rudy Gobert. And I'm telling you, it made my soul sing. I was singing praise. I was like, I'm cheering for Russell Westbrook. Who would have thought?
Oh yeah, I was watching that on House of Highlights on IG this morning. I was thinking I could just see this in real time. Like Barry sit and watch that game. Russ dunks on him, and as that ball goes through hoop, I could just see you go, yeah, like pumping your fist and just going crazy watching the game. And
I
he
was
junk afterwards too. He was
man.
to him.
Listen, let me tell you how I felt. I'm watching the game and I see Russ turn the corner. And he takes off. I'm like, oh my goodness, he's gonna front rim this, right? Or it was either he was gonna front rim it, or Rudy Gobert is gonna put 2 hands on this basketball and throw it to half court. And then it goes in. I'm like, I love this guy. I felt the love for the first time for Russell Westbrook. So Russell Westbrook, I'm saying it right now. Thank you. I apologize. I'm not saying 10. I think I'm going to walk the 10 back. That's a lot. You will get a 2-game pass from me. I don't care how you play tonight. Okay, you play the game after. 2 games, I'm not going to say anything bad about Russell Westbrook because what you did, you put Rudy Gobert on a poster, and God bless you. All right, the basketball gods bless you because it made me feel that much better about myself. Thank you, Russell Westbrook.
Wow. Something I never thought of here before.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I had to get it out of there.
So basically, you're messed up, man. Your hate for Rudy Gobert is stronger than your objectivity for Russell Westbrook.
I'm a sick man, Bryson. I'm a sick man.
Yep,
there's certain things that get me going. And that right there, I could forgive Russell Westbrook for a lot of things if you continuously dunk on Rudy Gobert.